Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so today what we'll see is, okay, we'll see some what is test estimation. Okay, some details about what is test estimation. Okay, then we'll see some test case design. Right? So we'll see the basic two techniques. Okay, is used.
Sir, this session is recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
and test summary. Okay. So three I'll cover, and if I cover mostly manual testing is almost complete. We'll see some additional things like Agile, Jira, and all like bug tracking. We'll see in the future classes, but mostly manual testing will be complete if I finish this. Okay. So first we'll see estimation, right? Uh, and we'll see test closure and estimation. Right? So test closure and estimation we'll see. Okay. First is estimation. Estimation is nothing but you it's nothing but calculation, right? The word is calculation, right? Or measuring. You can tell measuring, right? So what you measure, right? Your time, effort, okay, less cost, right? Okay, so time, effort, and right, plus your resources. How many resources, right? You need, right? So all these things you measure. That's called as estimation. Estimation when you do before test planning and strategy. Before test planning and strategizing, you do this. Okay, strategizing. Okay, strategizing before that, right? Before this one, you do this estimation, right? So normally who do manager level people, like test manager level people, they do. Okay. So now it's a little bit, right? I will see what we'll understand, right? So right, why we are doing estimation, right? How long the testing will take and how much it will cost, right? So like for example, there are some 100 requirements. For 100 requirements, how many long, right? How many months or it will take, right? And how much it will cost, like how many what is the price, right? The cost not only includes money, it includes your effort, okay, and the money, okay, and your time also. So everything is included in cost. Cost only not only tells the money, your effort, right? Your time, and also the including the price also. So everything is included in the cost. Okay. So these two purpose why we go for estimation. Okay. In estimation, what are things you do? Okay. What are things you calculate, right? Mostly resources. Resources means manpower, right? Like how many testers, automation testers, or manual testers needed for our project, and how much time it will take. Okay, whether you need to give training to any freshers, right? Those who are freshers or experienced people. For example, they don't know Selenium, right? They don't know Jira tool. They don't know about the agile process. They don't know about a particular banking domain. So they don't know, right? So for that, we can give, right, estimation, right? Next one is cost, right? How much it will take? What is the price, right? So how much it will take? So for all these things, you are going to calculate in your estimation phase. Okay. So estimation phase will happen between your requirements and your test planning phase. So this will happen between your requirements and your test planning phase. So this happens in between. So before you are going to plan and strategize, you are going to calculate the resources, time, human skill, and the cost. So this is what you are going to do in your estimation, right? Next, right? Okay. So while doing estimation, right? So during estimation, what are things you are going to do is divide the whole project into smaller tasks, right? For example, login, search, book, right? Printing a ticket, cancellation a ticket, okay? Register. Like that, you are going to split that into smaller tasks and allocate each task to the team members. You identify the team members, you identify the skill after giving training to them. So you allocate each task to the team members. After that, you estimate the effort required to complete. So for one person, there are some 10 persons in our project. For one person, how much time is needed, and what is a task, what is a, whether it's a simple task or a complex task, okay, and how much time it is needed for completing the task. Like that, you are going to estimate, okay, and check whether you estimated properly or not. So you are going to check the validate the estimation, right? So if I put a estimation, some other senior person is going to check, right, estimation is done properly, calculated properly or not. So this is what you are going to do in your estimation phase, right? Next, okay, so as I told you, your project will be split into modules, right? Module 1, module 2, like that, it is split into modules from that sub module. Like for example, project, right? Your railway reservation system. In that module is login, right? Searching trains, booking, like that is split into modules, right? From that module 1 is split into sub modules. For example, right? In a login module, you have a forgot password module, sub module. You have a registration module, you have a login module. So you can, a module can be splitted into sub modules, right? Sub module 1, 2, 3, you can split it into sub modules, okay? By splitting that, they are telling you can do estimation, and after sub module, you'll identify the functionality. What are the functions in each sub module? Like that, you'll identify the functionality. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, Joshi, we can hear you.
Okay, so right, you are splitting into sub modules and then you are identifying the functionality. Then you are going to calculate the estimation. This is a very basic thing. Okay, and I'm just showing you a sample estimation template. Okay, to that to understand little bit, right? In a little bit understanding, right? So this is how they put an estimation here. There's an automation testing estimation. It is given shown in front of you. Okay, for example, the right total efforts for each test cases, they are calculated with hours, right? So total efforts for each test case. So like as I told you earlier, test cases can be classified into simple, very simple, medium, complex, and very complex, right? So for simple test cases, how many hours are needed? Okay, and the total number of test cases. And same thing, simple, like total hours and how many test cases are there. For a simple test cases, how many hours, total number of hours. For medium, total number of right hours, and right how many test cases. Like that, they are going to split how many hours and how many test cases. From that, they are going to calculate total number of hours, the total number of efforts in hours they are going to calculate, and they'll come to a conclusion like we need some around like 300 hours for completing these test cases. First they will split it, okay? For writing a test cases, they'll split it, they'll identify how many hours you are going to, this and all will be done by a managers. No need to worry, but I think if you have an understanding, it will help you in cracking an interview. So suppose a question is asked about estimation, right? So you'll relate to that, like what is an estimation, what they'll do in estimation, like that you can relate things. That's why I'm telling you this one. Okay. Next, this is regarding the test case writing part. This is regarding the other activities like a review and rework, right? Some person will write a test case and some person is going to review a test case. For reviewing, what is it distinguished like simple, complex, very complex? For review, how many hours will take? Simple, how many hours? Very simple, how many hours? Medium, complex, and this one. For executing the test case, how much hours will take? For result, checking the result and analyzing the result, how many hours will take? And for uploading them test management tool, for example, reporting a bug, okay, and tracking an RTM, okay. For that, how much hours will take total, they will calculate, and this is for additional efforts other than the test case, like reviewing, executing, analyzing your results, uploading in your management tool, right? So for all these things, how many hours will take, like that they are going to calculate, okay. Then this is for automation, right? I hope you are to work, you know some basics in automation, right? For example, right, preparing an automation strategy, how much hours will take? 40 hours, right? And framework design, right? I hope you would have heard about hybrid framework, right? So we normally used to do some hybrid Kumbar BDD with hybrid will do. For example, automation expert, right? They are going to create a framework design and customize it, okay. For that, how many hours will take? For that, extra 80 hours is going to take, okay. Next one is KT, right? KT is nothing but a knowledge transfer, right? Transferring one knowledge to another, like senior person, they are going to transfer knowledge to you, okay. And SME support, SME means subject matter expert, right? So technical support they are going to do, for that will take 32 hours, like that they are going to calculate in your estimation phase, okay. Next one is for total efforts in hours, for all this complete package, 770 hours is going to take, okay. Like that you should calculate, right? For per day, suppose your person is going to work 8 hours, right? 770 hours, how many days will take, okay. So efforts in man days is 96 days, so 3 months is needed, 3.5 months is needed for completing this entire uh, work, right? Like
Okay.
that they are going to get, okay. For writing script, right? For writing automation script, it needs 66 days, okay, 66 hours, right? And the resource needed for scripting is one person is additionally needed for doing the scripting, like that they are going to calculate in your estimation. So this is a sample estimation template. By seeing this, you can understand how they do estimation in the real time work, okay. Got it?
Sir, I have one question. Like in test estimation, like who are all involved in that?
It depends, right? Mostly it will be managers, okay, test managers, okay, or like there will be different designations in your
Organization.
so there will be like if you take any organization, right, there will be different categories. Like it will start with test analyst, okay, senior test analyst, lead, senior lead, okay, and manager also 2 3 levels will be there. Like senior manager, manager will be there. So it depends, right? Mostly it will be done by manager level peoples or senior managers. High level people they will do this automation estimation one.
Okay. Same is involved in manual testing also, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
one
same.
we
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
same is involved. This same is involved in manual testing. So in the asset team, they will do both manual and automation. Both they will do. Some test cases will go for manual, and some test cases will go for automation. So which test case we are going for manual, and which test case we are going for regression? For mostly for regression purpose only, will go for automation, right? So which test, which are all the regression test cases that will go for automation? Like that they will split, and how many hours for manual and how many hours for automation? Like that they are going to calculate.
Sir, one more question. In manual testing, do we have a regression suite for regression suite and
Yeah,
sanity
we
suite?
have a regression shoot. Yes, a shoot is nothing but a collection of test cases and scenarios called as a shoot. Yes, we'll have a regression shoot.
Sir, it's my request. Like, can you provide one template for regression suite for and sanity suite, like one template because I am not aware of that.
Sure, maybe next like session, right? Tomorrow we'll plan for that. I'll make it ready. I'll find a template and then I'll present to you. We'll have a demo tomorrow on regression and sanity.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we'll move on, right? So this is regarding with your estimation. Okay. Next, right? Next we'll go to the next part, okay, test case design techniques, right? Mostly if you're attended any interviews, right, they would have asked this question, right? test case design techniques. Okay, so there are some standard techniques, right? Boundary value analysis, okay, and equivalence. I got
ECP.
ECP. I know, right? I'm missing the spelling. I don't know. Right?
EQ. Okay. Equivalent
Balance,
class.
right? I don't know. I'm missing the spelling. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Still, I miss the spelling. Right? EQ. Right?
EQ.
Equivalence pattern. Okay. So this is right. So these are the standard techniques. There are some other techniques like error guessing. You can tell, right? And you can tell, right? Decision tables. You can tell. Okay. State transition diagrams also you can tell. But these are the very standard techniques which is asked in interview. Where you are applying is while writing test cases. So where you are going to apply is while writing test cases. You will use it. Okay, so these are the very common two techniques, right? What is boundary, right? Checking only the boundaries. Checking only the boundaries is called as boundary analysis. Checking in between values also. Checking in between values also, that is called as your ECP, right? So checking in between values also, that is called as your equivalence class partitioning, right? Okay, so we'll see with an example now. Okay, boundary value analysis. For example, right? I ask one question. What is the boundary for 1 to 100? Anyone can tell me? Can you tell me like what is the boundary for 1 to 100? Any idea? Okay, so for example, right? Uh, yeah, tell me. I can't hear answer.
Actually, today I have some problem in laptop. That's why I am on in this phone. I don't know you can hear me or not. I am thinking one is less value and 100 is greater value. So that according to within that boundary within 1 to 100 will be pass and rest will be fail.
See, for 1, what is a boundary? For 1, 0, 1, 2 is a boundary. Okay. For 100, what is a boundary? 99, 100, and 101. So this is a boundary. So checking the boundaries. For 1, what is a boundary? 0 is a boundary, and 2 is a boundary. For 100, 99 is a boundary, and 101 is a boundary. So checking the boundaries, that is called as boundary value analysis. Here 0, 101 are invalid, negative values. I told right you should test both positive and negative. 1, 2, 99, 100 are positive values. That is valid values. Okay. So there are so this is called boundary analysis. Where it is applied, if you ask me, right? ATM pin.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can we take from 2 to 99
Pardon me.
from 1 from 1 to 100? Means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 100 we can take all positive values, right?
No, no. See, the concept is boundary means checking only the boundary, not the in between values. That is called boundary, right? See, for example, if you take 4-digit ATM pin, right? 4-digit, what is the boundary here?
3 and 5.
3, 5.
3, 4, and 5 is a boundary, right? 6, you can't tell 6, 7, 8, and all. It's not a boundary. Okay. So only within
Okay.
that limit, the upper boundary and the lower, that is called as a boundary. Okay.
Okay.
There is another
Okay.
requirement, username field. Username field, right? So I don't know why I'm poor. and spelling. Okay. So username, right? So for example, 6 to 8 characters. There is a requirement that username should accept 4 to 8 characters. Sorry, 4 to 8 characters. So the boundary now is 3, 4, 5, and upper boundary is 7, 8, 9. This is how. So what you should do is you should write 6 test cases now in your test case document. Here you should write 3 test cases for this one. Understood? So according to requirement, now we should write test cases for 3, test cases for 4, test cases for 5. In 4 to 8, you should write test cases for 3, 4, and 5, 7, 8, and 9. So 6 test cases you should combine and write. So this is where a boundary value analysis is applied. Got it? And I'll give another example like mobile number field. 10 digit, right? 9, 9, 10, and 11. So this is also that I gave you 3 examples now. Okay, 4 digit 3, 4, 5. Username 3, 4, 5, and 7, 8, 9, and mobile number 9, 10, and 11. You can take this as an example for your boundary. Next is ECP. ECP means equivalent partitioning, class partitioning. You divide into partitions. And then you test. Okay, for example, same 1 to 100. Okay, in boundary analysis, you are taking the boundaries. In here, you are taking the in between values also. In between values also. For example, you take student mark system as an example. As an example, right? For example, 1 to 35 case is fail. 36 to 50 it's pass. 51 to 70 is pass.
First class.
75 above.
First class, sir.
Sorry, first class. Sorry. First class. No, we'll take good. Okay, we'll take one condition as good. Okay. So next one is excellent, right?
Very good.
So this one is 75 and above is excellent. Like that, 1 to 100, you are dividing into partitions. 1 to 35, 36 to 50, 51 to 70, and 70. You are dividing that into partitions. Then you are testing. That is called ECP. Now what you should do?
Then we will apply boundary value.
Yes, correct. Good, right? Now you should apply boundary value analysis.
Boundary level.
Now we should apply boundary for 1 to 35. Okay, 36 to 70, 50, like that. Now we should apply the boundary conditions here. Got it clear?
Yes. Again, here will come like a lower boundary and upper boundary, right?
Yeah, same thing. Lower boundary and upper boundary. Same thing. What we saw, it will come here. I'll give you another example. Okay, flight reservation system. You can tell examples if you have asked anywhere, somewhere, interview, going for an interview, right? You don't tell only the definition, you tell relate with an example and tell, right? 1 to 16, adult. 16 to 60, sorry, child, right? 16 to 60, right, is an adult. 60 and above, senior citizen. Got it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like that you can split it into partitions. Same thing, 1 to 100. Okay, then you can apply boundary values. Okay, one question I'm asking you. This is a very common question which is asked in interview. Okay, for 1 to 10, what is a boundary analysis and equivalence class partition?
9, 10, 11, sir. Higher,
Okay.
Pardon me?
9, 10, 11.
This is boundary,
Higher
yeah.
boundary level. Higher boundary level, sir.
Lower. See, boundary is 1,
Lower
0, 1, 2,
0, 1, 2 is lower, sir.
9, 10,
8,
11 is your boundary.
Is higher. Yes, sir.
See, this is your BBA. And what is the equivalence class partitioning for this one? This is a very standard question which is asked in an interview.
So ECP we will take according to our like convenient like.
This standard answer is within less than 1 to 2, 1 to 10, less than 1 any one value. For example, 0, 1 value. Between 1 to 10, any one value, you can take 6 also, any value. And after 10, you can take any value like 12. This will be the answer. So you can take 5 also, no problem. You can take 11 also. But the concept is below that one, any one value, between that one value, and after 10, any one value, this will be the answer.
This applies in any kind of number, right?
Yeah, any kind of number.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
Means it
talking.
will apply.
Pardon me?
Means it will be apply only for password, like any credential,
Yeah,
like
it depends
any.
on the requirement. See, you get a lot of examples, right? We told flight, student mark system, okay, railway reservation you can take, okay, and anything, right? You can take
Mobile number also, sir.
mobile number. So anything you can take and you tell with an example. That's it.
Sir, my one question, like for example, I have a number between 1 to 100, and if someone will say, what will be the ECP for the number 1 to 100? So as you said, the formula which you have given, like we have to take one digit less,
0,
and
50, 101.
so for example, if
See,
someone
if
says
if
that I
if you
want
take in yeah, if you take in general, you can tell that. But they give a scenario, we should split like this one.
okay, but what if they will say I want, like 3 to 4 ECPs between 1 to 100? Is that a kind of question they will ask?
3 to 4 ECPs, huh?
Yeah.
That's
Like,
why you pull an example and tell me. See, if there is a question asked, okay, that's why I give an example, right? There is a one question they are giving you. They are giving you 1 to 100. I want 3 to 4 ECPs. Then you pull
yes.
this example and you split it and tell, right?
Okay.
Rather telling
Okay.
some answers,
Yes,
you
yes.
give an example and explain it clearly, right?
Okay.
That's why you plan for an example. If any question has, you pull that example and you explain them. That makes your work easy. You will feel comfortable if you have an example. So this is right. These are all test case design techniques, right? Boundary value.
There are still three test case design techniques, like the state transition and like decision.
State transitions and right decision tables. You have a lot of right.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I unable to understand ECP actually. Means randomly we are selecting, not any particular value like is BVA we are selecting.
No, not randomly. That's why. See, generally, if I told, I should randomly select it. But if you go with a requirement, particularly, you should split right. See, this is we are splitting with a requirement. Then you should go with this case only, right?
Okay. Yes.
Sir, I think
Generally, I am
so.
telling you, give this one. If particularly, you could take an example and do right.
Sir, I think so. When we have to apply ECP, it depends upon us, right? How we can apply,
Now, this depends
or
upon
it.
the requirement. It's not us. It depends upon the requirement.
Okay.
Okay, that decision table, I will take one example and I'll tell you. Okay, not example means I should normally draw in that board. Here I'll download some anyone template. Normally, when I have a classroom session, I draw in board the decision table. For login, I used to do an ATM pin, right? For that, I draw diagram. But here I'll take an example template and I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Have you got it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then we'll see test closure, right? This will be a last phase, right? After your execution phase, this will be a final phase in your software testing lifecycle. This will be a final phase in your STLC. Okay. If you simply ask means preparing reports. That is the ask me what you do in test question is preparing reports. Okay. Preparing, right? Okay. Preparing reports, right? So what are things you do in test summary report? Is test closure is prepare test summary report. Okay. Application stability report. Okay. Retrospection. Okay. So you do retrospection and you attend meetings, closure meetings. Okay. So these are the four things which you do in your test summary, right? Preparing report. Test summary report. We'll see a sample now. Okay. All your execution reports. Okay. You give AQI or right, PQI. Application quality index and product quality index. You prepare two reports. Okay. So this tells application is stable or not. So in decision making, right? Decision. Okay. Okay, decision making, right? Whether we can move to the next phase or not, it helps, right? Next one is retrospection. Retrospection is looking back. You log all this one lessons, what are the lessons learned and issue faced, and circulate to your team members. Okay, circulate to your stakeholders. Next one is you attend closure meetings. So it stakeholder check whether it's went as per plan. Okay, so these are all your things which you do in your test closure phase. So these are the things which you do in your text closure phase. I prepared one test summary report. 1 minute I'll share. 1 minute. Okay, so this is one right summary report which I didn't prepare anything. I just downloaded from Google, right? So I didn't do anything. I just downloaded, I searched in Google, and I downloaded one summary report. This I saw it was nice, right? So that's why I'm sharing this to you. Okay. First one is purpose, right? Purpose of the document, application overview, testing scope, what is covered and what is not covered, and metrics, right? Metrics is nothing but calculation, types of testing performed. So all these things you'll see in your summary report, right? And lessons learned, recommendation, best
Sir,
practices. Yeah,
not CS.
best practices, exit criteria, conclusion and sign off, and definitions, acronyms, and your abbreviation. So all those things you'll find in your test summary report. First is the purpose, right? It talks about the purpose of the document. What is the purpose and what part of testing you did in that particular application? That will be clearly mentioned in your document. So purpose, okay, will be shared in that particular the purpose, and they will give you application overview. You'll get an overview of an application. Okay, so what is the application is all about? Like for example, you take a railway reservation system or something, right? Library management system, or you take any common application. What is the application and what modules you are going to work? Like there are, you are going to work in several modules like registration, booking, payment, reports. Okay, and what you did in that particular modules that you will be covered in an application module. Next one, testing scope, right? Testing, so what tested and what you didn't test. So in scope and scope, right? What you tested and what you didn't test. So you tested registration page, booking and payment. You didn't do performance testing. So this, right? You didn't do performance testing. That it will be clearly maintained, and items not tested. What and all you didn't test. Okay. So right, what is in the scope but you didn't test. Okay, that is also will be clearly mentioned in your right in your scope of your testing. Okay, next one is metrics, right? Metrics is nothing but a calculation, some calculation based on your execution. If you go and search then Google, there will be a lot of metrics there, right? So there are some common metrics. Okay, number of test cases planned versus number of test cases failed. Okay, for example, I planned 80 test cases.
Hello,
I tell me.
sir. I cannot see the template.
You can't see the template.
No, sir.
All,
Yes.
can you see the template?
No, sir.
No. Oh,
No.
oh, sorry, sorry. One minute. I did some mistake here. Oh, sorry, sorry. I thought it was shared. Sorry, sorry. It's sharing, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Now it's okay?
Still, it's not visible.
I don't know why it's stopping. Uh, One minute. Okay, sorry, like we'll continue again, right? So this is a purpose, application overview, testing scope, right? Metrics, what I was telling, right? Types of testing performed, testing environment, lessons learned, recommendation, best practices. So this is what I was speaking about. Okay. First one is a purpose, right? The purpose of the document. What is the main purpose of the document, right? That will be clearly mentioned in your purpose. Okay. Next one is what is a document is all about. The main goal, objective will be mentioned in your purpose, and the application overview, like what is the application, what is a web-based application. Okay, it is having a central repository and it having some different modules. Okay, all for integrated for which purpose. All this application overview you'll get in your application overview. Next one, you will get your testing scope, right? uh, right, in scope and out scope. Like as I told you, what is covered and what is not covered, what you tested and what you didn't test, that will be clearly mentioned, and items not tested, that also will be clearly mentioned, right? Item what, pardon me? Okay, so what are the items not tested, that will be clearly mentioned, right? What is in the scope but you didn't test, that is called as items not tested, that also will be clearly mentioned. Okay, next one is, okay, 1 minute. Okay, next one is metrics, right? Metrics is nothing but calculation, right? If you go and search, right, in your net, right, so you'll get a lot of metrics. These are some common metrics like defect summary, okay, defect summary, severity wise, defect distribution, okay, total test execution, like that there are some metrics. Metrics is nothing but calculation. For example, there is one metrics, right? Total number of test cases planned, total number of test cases executed, total number of test cases passed, and total number of test cases failed. So I planned 80 test cases. I executed 75 test cases, 70 passed and failed, 5 failed. So I'll prepare a matrix and I'll circulate to my team, right? So I'll identify with that how many test cases passed, 93% is passed and 7% is failed. Like that, I'll put one calculation. So that is called as your metric, right? To get an understanding about what is the status of your project. For that, we do metrics. Next, there is another metrics, number of defects identified and their status and severity. Okay. For example, there are some you know the severity, right? We saw, right, critical, major, minor, and low,
Yes.
right? Critical, we found 25 defects, major 15, 20 and cosmetics 5. Total we found 60 defects. In that all are closed. In that all 60 defects are closed. Only 5 small low level defects, that is in still open status, that is deferred. That we'll do it in the next release. Like that, you put one matrix to know the status of your project. How much is closed and how much is open and what are the severity of the defects, that will be clearly mentioned in your summary report. Okay.
Sir, what is this cosmetic?
Low bugs we saw, right? Critical, major,
Okay.
medium, and low, right?
Minor
We
here.
saw. Yeah, same thing. Low and cosmetic both are same. Okay, and you put a chart and you tell, right, how much is passed. Critical 25, right? You can put bar chart, pie chart. You can do all this, right? Major how much, medium how much, cosmetic which is open, the blue color tells it's closed and red color tells it is open, right? So like that, you can put a chart and you can circulate to your team members, so that by seeing this graph they will understand which one is closed and which one is not closed. Okay, and in module wise, how many defects you found. For registration, 6 critical, 4 major, like 4 major and 6 medium and cosmetic 1. For booking, how many defects. For payment, how many. So for module wise, we are splitting it and you are identifying that and how much is closed and how much is closed. Like that, we calculate and we'll understand. So this is called lessons learned, right? And issues encountered, right? Like that, with this, we'll prepare that report. Lessons learned, issues encountered. For that, it helps to prepare by seeing this matrix. As I told you, matrix is nothing but your calculation. That is called as your matrix. Okay. Same thing. You can put a chart, right? So registration 26 percentage, booking like 34, payment is 15, and reports is 25. Like that, you can split it into modules and you can identify this one. Okay. This I downloaded from net. It's not my own document. Okay. And types of testing. What are testing you did? Like smoke testing, system regression, and regression testing. Okay. So these are all types of testing. Okay. What are the various types of testing you did? Okay, what is the environment tested? Like what is the application URL? What is the server? What is the IP address? What is the database you use? What is the the username and password of your ALM, right? that IP address, right? Like that, all these details should be clearly given. So with this only you tested. That's what you are telling here. And lessons learned, right? What are the lessons learned and issues encountered? Like while testing, you prepare one document. What are the issues faced, right? I faced in environmental setup. I faced issues while doing smoke testing. I faced it. There are a lot of critical bugs faced. So, okay, our testers are unable to finish on proper time. There is a delay in code. So, what are the problems you faced in your testing, and what are the solutions you did? Okay, so that will be clearly mentioned. The document will be prepared and circulated to the team members so that next release they are going to avoid these mistakes. Okay, and if any good things happen, right, you prepared some document well, that also will be circulated so that next release you will follow that. Okay, so both the good thing, good like things, and also the negative things, both is documented so that for improving the next release we do this one. Next one is recommendations. Okay, what are the best practices? I told, right, best practices, right? What are the best? There are a lot of activities done just during the project. Some of them have saved time. Some prove to be good and efficient. So you document the best practice and submit it, and also the issues encountered. So both will be done here and will be circulated to team so that next time you are going to avoid it. If it's a good one, best practice, you are going to follow it. Okay.
Hello,
And
sir.
exit criteria. Yeah, tell me.
Can you also show us in ALM or
Pardon
QC
me.
or
Your voice is breaking.
okay.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Next one is exit criteria. Okay. All test cases should be executed. All defects is critical. All open defects is right. What are the exit criteria? Okay. So when we can exit, right? All test cases should be executed. Yes, it's executed. All critical defects have been verified. Yes. Any open defects with severity, no. Right. Action plan is prepared for the expected effect. So like that, when you are going to execute it, and when you exited, right? What case you exited from the testing, that is also mentioned here in your summary report, right? And conclusion and sign off. Who reviewed that and who sign off, right? Normally it will done by right the customer place team, right? They are going to sign off that. Okay, the business analyst, right? And the definitions, acronyms, and abbreviations. What are the definitions in the project? What are the acronyms and what are the abbreviations of that? So everything will be mentioned. So all those things you can see in your test summary report.
Sir, usually a sign off will be given by the individual testers, right?
Yeah, the end users, right? And the customer place, a business analyst will do the sign off.
No, but as a tester, even we also have to do the sign off. Do we have to do the sign off as a tester?
The final approval will be done by them.
Okay. But they will also ask for the sign off from individual testers also.
Yeah.
Okay.
But normally the customers also for test cases sign off will be done by the customer place people.
Okay.
Customer place business analyst will do that one.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Any other question?
No, sir. For like in tomorrow's class, like we just wanted a regression suit template and sanity suit template.
Sure. Next, I'll prepare tomorrow and I'll let you know. Okay.
And also, sir, like I just want a rough idea on like how Bugzilla works and that kind of.
Sure. I will plan for the session. Okay.
And also, I know Jira, but you also give some brief idea about that.
Sure. I am planning for the session for Jira also. We'll do it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure.